A detect-fash feature, meaning to detect fascism, was developed and submitted as a patch to System D. The idea being that System D would now have detect fash as a built-in feature. And what this detect fash feature would do is literally would go through and detect if specific pieces of software which were deemed by the extreme left to be fascist software was on the system. If the system was Omarchy Linux, if it was running Hyperland or the Ladybird web browser, or in fact, if the currently logged in user was DHH, the guy who makes Omarchy Linux and created Ruby on Rails. Now, this whole story is bizarre because it actually came from a Russian military email account. I don't know. Let me walk you through all of this. Okay, so someone developed this and submitted it. Let me show you a little bit of the code. It's real code, and it really, really exists. It's written in C. Someone not only developed the code to do it, but the build process to do it and the documentation for it. I mean, someone spent a fair bit of time on it. The code isn't perfect. As many people who have checked out the code can attest, it has a couple of problems in it, including a almost intentional memory leak, it seems like, which might be part of the gag. However, someone created this account and submitted it to System D, and I'm just going to read their patch submission notes here. This pull request introduces a new utility, detect-fash, which scans a system for the presence of software and configurations known to be associated with fascist ideologies. This may help identify undesirable and or malicious activity that may interfere with the intended operations of the System D, of other System D utilities. Now, just to say this flat out, this is not making it into System D. One of the System D maintainers and developers hopped in, reviewed the code, and posted the following quote: "This is actually fairly well written and complete. Kudos! Exclamation point. But such a tool is not a good fit for System D." And then he closed it out. Now, the person who, just to make sure this is fully documented, the person who reviewed this code and decided to close it and said kudos was a Red Hat employee by the name of, and here goes my attempt at pronouncing this name, Zbigniew Jedrzewski Smek. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, Zbigniew. I butcher random English names as well, so don't feel bad about it. So he is a Red Hat employee that specifically works on things like System D, right? He says it's actually fairly well written and complete. Kudos. Okay. Now, before we go further, before this story gets weirder, I want to say this flat out. This is most likely some level of joke, right? I mean, this is clearly a little bit tongue-in-cheek, because who in their right mind would have a detect-fash utility for System D? So it's a little bit of a joke, a little bit of a troll of all of us and everyone out there by creating this piece of code and submitting it in. Okay, that out of the way, this does raise a couple of issues. First, we don't know really the developer who reviewed this. We don't know if he thinks it really is a great thing, kudos, or if he was just saying, yeah, buzz off. I'm just trying to say something so that I'm not going to get in more trouble, because undeniably, simply by rejecting this pull request, he's going to get yelled at by leftists, even though it was probably more of a joke. The initial code was anyway, right? So by him saying, hey, this was good code, kudos, but such a tool is not a good fit for System D. That might be his way of saying, yeah, nice job, see you later, right? And just giving him the brush off. He might have also been saying that he really liked it, kudos, but it's not a good fit for System D. How he intended it, we don't know. I'll leave that at that and just push that off to the side. The bigger concern here is the fact that someone made code like this and submitted it highlights and underscores an issue that we have throughout free software and open source right now. And that is this. Most projects, I shouldn't say most projects, many projects, a large number of projects, including Linux distributions themselves, programming languages, build systems, network tools, and the like, are all run and administered by people who are more political activist than software developer at this point. And I think a lot of us can look through the coverage of that the Lunduke Journal has put out over the last few years and think of a large number of examples from, NixOS and many others, where the individuals who are overseeing which pull requests get accepted into the mainline project that they're working on, those people are political activists. How many such projects are out there, not which just simply detect, a specific software being involved, like being installed like this one, but how many out there look for specific potential user accounts? How many specifically open up certain security exploits depending on, say, what country they're located in, etc. It's fairly simple and trivial, if not enough people are looking at it, to obfuscate those sorts of things when you're talking about projects with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lines of code. If the people submitting the code don't want it to be seen, and the people who are accepting those code patches in don't want it to be seen, the possibility of highly politically motivated, compromising software making it into a large amount of the software that we use every day is actually pretty high. And I think this underscores it, because even though this was kind of a joke, right? I mean, many leftist activists have been joking about creating some sort of fascist detector or Nazi detector where it detects Nazi software, or is this system run by Lunduke? Is this system run by DHA? Blah, 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 blah. And then force things to stop working. They've joked about that for a while. Well, here's a bit of code that they wrote to facilitate that. Someone wrote it to facilitate that. I don't exactly know who. And it could have made it in. Now, if this wasn't in System D, if this was submitted to, say, an extremely politically charged political activism project like a NixOS or an Elementary or an OpenSUSE or one of the other ones, would it have made it in? Even if it was being blatant and blunt like this, if it was obfuscated, it seems like it would be fairly possible that it made it in. It's entirely possible that things like that might be making it in, not exactly this, but along these lines, on projects that we don't even know about at this point. And so I think the presence of extreme political activism in open source and free software should concern us. This story, though, gets a lot weirder, because the person who made this particular pull request, who developed this code, went by this handle, SauceCho2143. Now, SauceCho2143 has an account that is only 4 days old on GitHub. But it is a verified account with a verified email address, and it has 5 followers, and he submitted some code and whatnot. And he has some writing here in Russian, and I don't speak Russian, so I plopped it into Google Translate to see what it is. This is on his GitHub profile. And the GitHub profile Russian language translates to, quote, "I've never seen anything like this before, and here it is again." I don't know. Is that a reference to something I'm missing? Maybe, possibly. But if you dig a little bit further, something else weird pops up. This email address of this user is a mil.ru email address, a Russian military email address. It is an email address that points specifically to the domain for the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, mil.ru. Here's an archive of the English version of their website for those of you watching this. Now, again, this is a verified account on GitHub submitting patches. Someone went through a lot of trouble to submit this, what seems like a bit of a joke patch about being fascist detectors, and specifically detecting a couple of key projects, a couple of key not fascist projects, but that extreme leftists are labeling as fascist and Nazi projects. Sort of the projects of the moment, the projects that the extreme leftists hate of the moment, right? Using a Russian military email address. Now, is this person a member of the Russian military? Don't know. Did this person manage to jump through some hoops to make it seem like they're a member of the Russian military? Don't know. Don't know. But what is going on here? It's really friggin' weird. I don't really know what to make of all of that. It's just truly bizarre. I mean, because my initial inclination is this is obviously a joke patch. I mean, it's a joke that could be written by someone either on the left or the right trying to make a point one way or the other. It's kind of really hard to tell because honestly, it's very much in line with what extreme leftists would do. And it's very much in line with what people on the center and the right would do to make fun of what extreme leftists would do, because it's really all the same thing, if you know what I'm saying here. And so it seems like it's a bit of a joke, but someone also clearly put a lot of time into it and really wanted to point out that they're Russian or they want you to think they're part of the Russian military. What is this? I do not friggin' know, but it is there and it is out there. This sort of thing is just escalating. There's just a whole lot more of this happening. I've received probably, 100 messages at least about this specific thing over the last several hours. I reported on it over on X earlier God, when did I report on this? I reported on this last night, right before I went to bed. I went to bed, I was about to go to bed at 11:20 p.m. and I saw that this was happening. And I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. So I posted it up there and it's been viewed almost 500,000 times over on X as of this morning. And people have just been flooding me with posts about it and emails about it and private messages about it, having questions about it, like pointing out various things. And people are really confused. Like, how did someone with a Russian military email address manage to get this in there? Or why did they? And are they in trouble now? And what the heck is going on? It's ridiculous. It's completely and patently absurd. And that is what it is. What's funny, though, is if you go over to the extreme leftists hangout areas like Mastodon and Blue Sky and some of the various forums and Discord servers and whatnot, they think this is just the best. They think this is just the greatest thing ever, and they're just super psyched about it. Now, clearly, they agree it's funny, right? It's clearly meant to be a joke, but the way that they're talking about it is more along the lines of, yeah, maybe we should be doing this in more projects. In fact, there's been multiple conversations going, which I'm sure will be a follow-up episode, about wanting to implement some of this into some various software repositories and stores where it detects if there's dependencies on fascist software and then reject packages and make it so packages can't be downloaded and the whatnot. It's crazy. It's crazy that that's a thing, but it's a thing. It is what it is. Thank you to the Lunduke Journal subscribers. Go to lunduke.com and click on all of the links where you can get free subscriptions to everything that the Lunduke Journal does. There's also some really cool perks, MP4 downloads, PDF ebooks, forum access, all sorts of stuff if you want to become a subscriber and help to keep the Lunduke Journal big tech free, because that's a good thing. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare end broadcast.